Hello there and welcome to the Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. I'm your host, Vidas Pinkevičius. Welcome to the Secrets of Organ Playing podcast number 79. Today is Sunday, January 29th, 2017. And today's guest is a Danish organist and composer, Bjorn Larsen from Svendborg. He is the organist at St. Nikolai Church there, and he leads a fantastic musical life in this church. He organizes organ concert series and musical festivals all year round, and he also plays this beautiful Markusen organ, which has been enlarged recently into 4 manuals. So today in this conversation we will be talking about his musical journey, what it means to play the organ for him, how he fell in love with the organ long time ago, how he started composing, what inspires him to create, right, and his other impresario work that he does, because he connects organists from all over the world to come and play organ recitals at his church in Svendborg. So listen to this interview, and I hope you will get inspired by what you can become one day, also what you can do starting from today. Perhaps not everything that Tuo does in his very busy and creative scheduling, but perhaps starting small and taking those small steps every day to get better at organ playing, maybe creativity, start creating, and even connecting people and starting organize organ concerts or series. So let's go to the show and let's be inspired. Thank you so much, Tuo, for joining this conversation. I'm so eager to know more about your organist journey, your composer journey, about your music style, right? What sort of work you do at St. Nikolai Church in Svendborg in Denmark. And those things will be very, very fascinating to people around the world from 89 countries. We have listeners. So thank you so much for your generosity, time and ideas, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Tuo, let me ask this question about your childhood first, because let's face it, probably you fell in love with the organ long time ago, right? Do you remember the love story with the organ? Who was the first person who introduced you to the organ and how it happened?
Well, it wasn't actually like that. It was kind of different because I was very fascinated by sound as a child, and I got my mother and father to buy a piano, so because I couldn't keep my fingers away from a piano each time I got in the near of it, and. Well, I think that's the excuse me. That's the composer part of me, and I played, and I actually played for fun all my childhood around this piano, and I wasn't really good at exercising. I knew I would never be a pianist, but I loved every sound music at all. And then I found out when I was about, I think it was very, very late, that I played a lot of other music at that time with young people who played rock music and all different things. And I thought, but about when I got out of high school, I thought either you play Saturday night or you play Sunday morning. And I thought Sunday morning is, when you want to have a family, children, and so on, it's much secure. So I decided to get in touch with an organist, and I got to the Dome in Odense, and I said I want to to try to play organ, and that's the way we started.
Interesting,
And
Tua. Let me ask you this: what fascinated about organ in your early days the most? Why did you choose the organ?
the organ, because as with this fascination of sound, the organ can do everything. I think you have the orchestra, you can. And I think the acoustic in a church is just this spiritual feeling that means a lot to me.
You're absolutely right, Tua. It's a magnificent feeling to sit on the organ bench, whether it's a small organ or a big organ, large organ,
Yes,
doesn't
exactly.
matter. Doesn't matter. The acoustics is tremendously important of the church, right? It creates this magical surrounding, right, and magical atmosphere. And then we find out perhaps that the organ is like a living organism, right?
Yes.
And this has a mystical, spiritual feeling.
Yes, exactly. And the acoustic and the church is a part of the instrument, actually. So you have all this together. It goes up. Yes, it makes sense in the feelings.
How old were you when you first started playing organ?
Yes, I was actually old. I think I was 19. So,
19, that's okay.
yeah,
That's okay. I have
I was
students.
old.
I have students in their 80s who are
Oh,
still playing. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
That's okay. And do you remember what was the first organ piece that you practiced?
First organ piece.
Was it a church chorale or maybe
Yes.
right Lutheran chorale? Maybe that was a folk song, or maybe that was some kind of Baroque composition, Bach chorale prelude from Schubler. Do you remember?
Yeah, not exactly the first one, but it was this very, in Denmark at that time, famous organ school book,
Uh-huh.
Finn Vidor made this book, and we just started on page one, and,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
my teacher got me through all the pieces, so that's the way it was. But
At the age of 19, you're a young adult, right? You have this completely formed mental state, right? You can even vote, right? And drink alcohol
yes,
and drive cars and play organ,
yeah,
right? So
yes,
you're a complete person in a way, not like a
well,
child, not like a child beginning to play organ from the age
that's
of
right,
7,
that's
right,
right.
or 6.
Mm.
Now you have this. Now you have this self-formed idea what organ can do, what it can't do, your passion, your dream, your goals, your frustration. You understand it mentally, right? What was it for you in those days that was fascinating about organ?
It was all the possibility to experiment and try something out. I was so lucky that when I was 21, I got my first position as an organist with a new organ. This was all new, two manuals, pedal, and 16 stops, but it was a new moccasin organ, and everything was really the action and all pipes was, and I could just experiment with different sounds, different combinations. All that was really fascinating. And then from then on, I just kept on. I
Couldn't stop, right? There
couldn't
is,
stop.
it's like a drug, right? There is no escape from organ playing once you
No,
started.
no, yes,
Some
right.
people stop playing for decades, right? And then later, when they have more time in their senior years, they come back to organ bench, and they have lifelong passion about organ that they can't forget.
No,
What was challenging for you at the beginning? Was it always easy to play pedals and hands and feet together, or did you find something
it
frustrating?
was it was very frustrating. It was a very great challenge because I couldn't play, and I got this position and I had to play from 21 years, and I didn't know. I came from no. I had no context. I didn't know the chorales. I didn't know any. I had to lead everything from scratch on. It was really hard, and I could hear that it didn't sound right.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to practice. I had to practice all the time. But then again, there was some things that I could just play around with besides and having fun. So it was always I practiced for hours on it. Well,
you're right. You're right.
It took me many years, but to just be confident with to play to the service, that took me many years, many years.
Every success is never an overnight success, right? Or they say overnight success takes 10 years, right? Overnight success. But it's interesting to can you share us what at which point of your life did you realize that you can also create music as a composer? Was it early or later?
No, I was actually afraid of starting. When I finished my organ studies, it took some time before I started really composition studies, because I was afraid, because that was the beginning for me, and I didn't want anyone to destroy it. So I wanted that all my ideas and such. But then I thought again that, well, I could always, if I felt that they destroyed something for me, then I could drop it. Mm-hmm. So I started, and then it went on, and it ended. Then I finished that too, and I thought that I could be, well. It's like in the composer world, you have composers and then you have organ composers, because all organists have to and can do a lot of things, because they have to do it in service and have to do improvise and to do things. So in the composer world, it's like, organist, but it's organist composers. And I thought, well, I want to be a real composer.
Right.
So I took this studies afterwards, but the only thing I've really found out was that I am an organist composer, because I like to write for the organ, and I like to write church music for organ choir, organ instruments, and then it was okay. I did my exam and I found out that I don't need to be composer. I'm an organist composer. That's okay.
Right. Who else will write for the organ if not the organist, right?
That's right. And they know best.
They know
the best about the instrument.
And let's face it, in many cases, organ is not the most popular instrument today, right? In many instances. Sometimes, yes, it is. Thanks to tremendous efforts from people who are really bringing it to the general audience. But it's not in the forefront of general culture, right?
No, that's right.
But nevertheless, I think a lot of organists face this dilemma: should I only perform, or can I really find myself in a place where I can find courage to create? Right? It's two different things: perform and create. Right?
Yes, that's right.
How do you deal with this dilemma? When do you perform and when do you create?
Yes, that's right. It's two different processes. It's you have to. Sometimes it's hard to keep both things going. You have to focus on the one or the other one. Mm-hmm. But I think it inspires each other. So when you get this, because the person who wrote the organ piece that you had to play as an actor was also a composer. So when you have that in mind, you have this thing. You want some ideas to be alive, and you have to create them, and that will inspire your playing, and your playing may be inspiring the other way around. So I think it's two processes, and you have to deal with how to focus.
Exactly.
Perhaps
You
that's a
you're
good answer.
absolutely you're
Something.
absolutely right to people have this sometimes fear, right, to start creating because naturally when they first start to play on the organ, not too many people play improvisations, let's say, right? A lot of people play either hymns, church chorales, or the written down compositions from
Yes.
masters of the past periods,
Yes.
from Baroque period or Renaissance or Romantic period, right? Not too many perhaps play from the 21st century right away, but still the masters call us to perform their works, right? And as you say, sometimes we get this want to create also, right? And it inspires our performance later on
Yes.
because uh, if you write even a simple eight measure phrase, right, on the page, right, with pencil, you have to let it out from your minds, right? A minute ago it wasn't there, but you have created
Mm.
something which will endure maybe for centuries, right? It doesn't matter, right?
Even though.
Whether for centuries or thousands of years, but but
Yes. Yeah.
it's there. You are creator, and I think it's so important for people to realize that we have this power to create in any way we want. As musicians, we create with music, right? With notes, create. But there are other thousands of ways to create, right? So
Yes.
I'm glad you chose music too.
Well, actually, I thought when I was young I would be a painter, but God didn't want me to be that. So He
Uh-huh.
forced me into music. But because I thought, as a child, I would rather be. I was very shy. I was sitting painting, and I thought always I would be. But He pushed me
Uh-huh.
because when with music you have to perform. You have to be in front of people. You can't sit just in. By your desk and make your paintings or your cartoons or whatever, and then go away. But
Yes.
with music, it's right here, it's now, and you have the audience. And He forced me to do that and formed me.
Hmm.
So I became another person because all my shyness had to go away. You can't play with that. You can't create music here now with that feeling.
Do you have this feeling that you can come back to painting one day in your life later?
Um,
Do you
well,
have this inner desire still?
no, I'm still very, very fond of now. I'm very old-fashioned because I still write in my hand when I write my scores.
Excellent idea.
Don't use
Just
the.
it's just like painting, right? You're using your hand.
That's the way my painting gets out because I have Sibelius and I have other programs and each time I start, well, I get back to the pencil and the paper.
Hmm.
And well, not to well, I'm quite proud of it, but people say it's more personal when they see the note,
Hmm.
and I think, well, I can do something that will take me hours and hours by the computer, and the idea I wanted was just to do it by the pencil, and then that's why I get very frustrated by the programs because it takes me so much time.
Hmm.
And when I then like to paint, I paint the notes instead.
Exactly.
So that's the way it
It's
comes
like
out.
painting. You are
Yeah.
painting the note. You are doing calligraphy of some sort, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Right.
Hmm.
That's the way
It's
it
a
comes
slow
out.
process, and your mind leads your fingers, right, and creates ideas, and you put it down on paper, which becomes later melodies, and people can play.
Yes. And in fact, actually, one of my teachers who also did this, he said, because when you do it in your hand, it takes longer time, and your mind is with you. But
Exactly.
when you just do it by a computer, it's easy,
Too
it
easy.
gets very fast, and you perhaps do not reflect that much about it. I don't know if that, because I know young people, for them it's very easy and it's natural, and that's okay. But for me, it's another process.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, everybody has to find their own technique, right? Um,
yes.
and their own probably inspiration. What was your first inspiration on the organ or in composition? Did you look at the works of the masters before you, or you create something out of your own mind, completely original?
Well, I think in the start, I just wanted to keep these ideas of my own. So I tried to do something I thought was nobody else had done before. When you're young, you don't know so much. But further on, as I got in touch with all different other composers, and so all these things I heard, organ compositions, and well, you start to use the techniques. You try to form them, and yes, still I still find out in that. Well, have you heard about the Danish composer named Bjorn Larsen?
Now I know him.
Oh, yes, you know him
Now.
now. Yes,
Because of you.
no, okay. Yes, he was at the time by Carl Nielsen.
Okay.
The same time, but he was not. Carl Nielsen was the hero, and he was he was a kind of ugly duckling.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And when Giorgio Ligeti came to Sweden and got in touch with his music, he said, "Well, I just found out that Ligeti, am a Ruud Langgaard epigone."
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right name? When you do something that someone had done before, epigone.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Yes.
You create something for the first time. Mm-hmm.
I have found out very many times that I was an epigone by many others, because I thought I've heard something, and you write something because you feel it from the heart, but then you hear some of other. And you find out that they have done that before. I don't know if you understand.
I know.
What I mean.
It's like explorers in jungles, right? They go,
Yeah.
they go
Yes.
and see. Oh, this is a new landscape. Oh,
Yes.
this is a new animal. I have discovered a new animal, right?
Yes.
And then only to find out, oh, that's not a new animal. It's already been discovered, right?
Yes. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But I think
you have no other way. There's no other way. You have to go out and try and...
yes, because you are still creator, you are still explorer, and you, nevertheless, if this animal has been discovered already, but not by you, so for you, right? It's new.
Yes, that's right.
Excellent. So, Tua, how would you describe your style in a few words? What best is it? Can you describe your compositional style for us a little bit?
I think I'm a modernist, but it's sometimes it can be more. Well, it's a modernist traditionalist. I'm not. It's. I think you have, if you want to be something that can stay and not just fade away, but because when you're really here and now, then it's and modern, then it will fade away, because tomorrow that will be old-fashioned.
Very interesting idea, Tua. And I think there are two kinds of music when we talk about modern music, modernism, right? One kind of music has continuity, and another is sort of in the now and difficult to predict, right? Doesn't have this flow of ideas. In which category would you put yourself?
Well, you almost said it. I think I'm not. I'm in the first one.
First one.
The first category. I think sure.
It has continuity, right?
Yes, because I use forms and use things more. I just more conscious. When I was young, I thought, as you said, I found a new animal. Now I'm conscious. This animal is already there, but I can do something else, perhaps show another color. The zebra might not only be white and black; it can be yellow and blue. I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
Because if as a creator and composer, you have to have the meaning of that. This makes sense that you're at all want to present something for other people, because otherwise you can just do it for yourself, and you must have some think that perhaps I can just take a little bit, just a tiny little bit that is new.
I know what you mean, Tua, because when you trying to create something which hasn't been created before, you have this sense of, of doubt. Is it new, or
Yes.
is it a copy or a new, right, thing? And here is how original work comes today. I think nobody can be original today because so many things has been discovered, explored.
Yes.
But if you combine two ideas which rarely have been combined before,
That's
or
right.
three ideas, right?
Yeah.
You said about painting, right? You paint a sea, right? But you make it green or yellow, right? It's already a combination of two strange ideas. Who is yellow? Sun is yellow, right? But in the form of sea, right? Ocean, for example. It's already new. In a way, with music, I think you're right. Also, if you create something with the technique which has been created, like a canon or a fugue,
Exactly.
traditional form, right?
Yes.
But you use a new mode, for example, some kind of or rhythmical idea, which is rarely met in the Western world, right? Like Hindu raga, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Hindu raga or tala, right? Then, voila, you are original. You combine two not original ideas, and it becomes original.
Yes, it's not a pastiche.
No,
No,
it's not.
It's something. You try to do something. You try to show a new thing.
Yeah, it's not a pastiche. It's probably it's not a pastiche because in pastiche, it's in pastiche you have several ideas which alternate. They're not really connected, right? But in your case, you're probably making an original work out of two or more already known ideas, but it's unified, right? As I say, with canon or with fugue, it's a composition which is unified. Is that how you work, Tua?
Yes, I think it sounds quite like that, because I use old techniques and I combine different things, and sometimes it sounds a bit old-fashioned, but other times it comes out to be very modern. It's so different. But I follow what there was a Norwegian composer who once said, "Please accept my ears." It's and that's it had to sound good. I mean, it's very. One thing that I've also found out when I studied was that there was a lot of angry young men, and you can write a lot of music sound very bitter and harsh, but it's harder to make some music that is made that you want not only to protest, but you want to get your love to the world out. Good. That's a very complicated thing.
By composing
I don't
music,
know if you understand what I mean.
I think I do. I'm trying to now translate it into language that people around the world will understand too. By composing music, you are trying to express your love to the world, right? Is that correct or close enough?
Yes, it's something. Yes. It's much more difficult to make happy music than it makes to make sad music. Sad music, that's much sad and angry music with dissonance and a protest. That's much more easy than to make something that
inspiring, right?
Yes,
Uplifting.
I think you have well, and spiritual too. I mean, and from your countries, we have a very great inspiration. I think Pert and other from the Baltic countries can make these things. I think that's.
When you create to music, you mentioned that you think about your future listeners, right? How will they react and perceive your music? And to what is your ideal listener? Do you think about it?
Yes, I think. When I in the process, I don't think about the listener. Because I think I'm quite ordinary listener too myself, but I'm wrong a lot of times. I know because when you work with music, you're much more into it. But of course, I want to open up the world for a listener, that to show how great this world is, how many aspects there are, how many sounds and ideas and whatever. I want to make the world greater. That sounds perhaps too much, but I mean, you have some. When you talk about art, you have a lot of modern art, and people can take it. But when you talk about music, most people say modern music, that is pop and rock music.
Yes.
And that's not right, because that's. But then you have to have cartoons on your walls instead of paintings, because the ear you can't shut your ears. You can look away from the picture, but you can't shut your ears. Well, it's a very complicated situation with music. I think that the most because there is many more people that are capable of looking at modern art than are capable of listening to modern music.
You're right. When you create, do you find yourself in a situation when you are influenced by the modern culture as well, or you try to stay away from the from the pop scene or rock rhythms and things like that?
It depends very much on what the composition is, what is about. I can, of course, I can use, but I will never. I don't like. I don't think I can do the pastiche. I will have to make something, put something into it to make it, to renew it. In any tradition, you have to renew all the time, because otherwise the tradition will stop. I mean, there will be no development. You have to renew all the time.
Exactly.
Show that.
In your mind, who are you first, composer or organist? Today.
Today. Not as a young, but today.
Yes. Ooh. In general, perhaps. Who are you feeling or associating with more, as an organist or a composer?
Well, I think
perhaps a mix of both.
Yeah, I think it's a mix, because I think there's so many. I'm very lucky to have position, playing in a church. I can compose, I can arrange concerts, and I can get in touch with people from the whole world coming and playing. I hear, listen, and get inspired by this. And then they can inspire me, my way of playing. It can inspire, I can hear some music that I never heard before. And I can also, I have a choir in the church I work with. And I think I'm a very lucky person having all these possibilities. But I don't want to just do one thing. Because I think the one thing inspires the other ones, and then
Excellent.
So I don't know if I can choose. I don't want to choose. I don't want to choose if I am an organist or organ player or I'm a composer. I'm both. Like
You're both.
I'm half Norwegian and a half Dane. I can't choose.
Exactly. It's in your blood, right? It to
Yes.
be both organist and
Yeah.
composer. That's what you write in your signature, right? Organist and composer at
Yeah.
Saint
That's right.
Nikolai Church. And
Yeah.
talking about Saint Nikolai Church in Svendborg in Denmark, where you work. What kind of responsibilities do you have there? What is the musical life look like in at Saint Nikolai?
Well, I was. I got this possibility to work in St. Nikolai Church, and they wanted me to open up the church for the city with music.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite something, I think. It's in the middle of the city, and you just open the doors, and people can go from the walking street right directly into the church.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my work is also to arrange concerts. And we have now, I've been here will be the 15th year.
Mm-hmm.
And from the start, I started with the organ festival in August, from 3 to 5 days in a row with organists from all over the world.
Yes.
And beside this, I have a Saturday noon concert each first Saturday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And these concerts I try to do as as different as possible, so that as many people come into the church, and also try to combine with the organ. And now we have got the organ restored and renewed and expanded in 2016. So I think now that I want as many people as possible to hear that the organ is a fantastic instrument.
Uh-huh.
But with all the new sounds that the organ can now, so they don't think that organ is a dull instrument. You know what I mean? I want to open up, but still I want to have different of other types of concerts, so that people come to the church.
Uh-huh.
And we're very lucky to have that. I think in Denmark, I know other places in the world, it's very different how many people will come to concerts. But these Saturday noon concerts, there can be 200 people like that, and that's because I keep on the same time, and it's very different. And then I can, for example, present quite modern music, because they know that the next time it will be Baroque music, the next time it will be it's only vocal music, next time it will be... So they come, and so I think that's to keep on having just the same time that they know. Well, a Saturday noon is a good time because people they go out shopping, and they go, and then before they go home to have their lunch, they can take a concert in the church.
Excellent.
And I've heard about this many other places in Europe too. That's the way because if I make just a single organ concert Thursday night at 8:00, and that will not so many people will come. So I'm very interested in expanding that, so as many people as possible can hear and feel. And that's also why I have made this international organ festival, because I want the audience to hear that there are so many excellent organists around the world, and they, even if they don't have the secure possibilities as in Denmark. They play much better.
Exactly.
And I want to people to hear
Yes.
an organ can sound like this.
You mentioned
Come
fantastic
listen.
idea about lunch concerts, right? Where people can go and come and listen to the music and at the same time eat some sandwiches, right? In their bags.
They don't eat in the church, but
They don't eat.
anyway. No.
Oh, but
No,
they
it's
eat
just
afterwards, right?
yes.
Excellent. And what kind of um, organ do you have? I look at the picture of the organ right now, and it looks like a three manual instrument, isn't it?
It was a three manual instrument until last year.
Oh,
Now we have four manuals.
four manuals. Okay.
Yes, because what you can't see is it was a three manual neo baroque. Markussen from Denmark, made in 1967, and it had no string, no gamba, nothing. It was all very, we'll say, a bit harsh, but it was really good. All the action, everything is really good. The Spanish trumpet is very fine. Everything, chamar, yes, but well, it needed some poetry, and so it has got this fourth manual. You can't see it in the front because it's in the back. All in the back. There is a 9-stop swell box.
I see. So you expanded it, right, into four manuals.
Yes, from 32 to 44 stops.
Wonderful. And you have this Spanish horizontal trumpet and chamade, right? And
yes.
Very interesting neo-baroque sound, right? But you probably play a lot of modern music and even romantic sometimes music, don't you think?
That's the reason also for the swell within the fourth manual, because now you can do romantic music authentically.
Excellent.
It can sound right now, and also for the modern there is many great possibilities.
As a concert organizer, Tuo, how do you discover those guest artists, guest organists? How do they contact you, or you go out and search for them?
That's a combination. It started with I got some contacts in the early days. I also when I played out in the country, a small country church there. I started also a festival there. But after I was on a study tour we were both with the conservatory. We were both in Paris and we were in Vienna. And got some contacts, and after that I had some colleagues around, and I was also assistant in the international organ competition in Odense.
Odense, yeah.
Some years, and I got contacts there, and then it's just a combination. I have asked those people, and it got spread around, so some contact me. And now I don't know. I think I must. I don't know where, but this August days, Svendborg International Organ Festival must figure somewhere out in cyberspace, because I got really many news contact, people coming asking me to play. Not me to play, to play in the festival.
In the festival,
so,
yeah.
As I have told, I think I told you that this year and also next year is fully booked. So, I think I have just to calm down, because perhaps something new or something very good could possibly come up. And if I have booked for until 2025,
I see.
we cannot have the possibility to present this extraordinary thing. But it's fun to have that and get contacts, and you can have the possibility of listening to so many other ways of playing. Sometimes I ask people to play some music from their own country, which I never heard. I think that's also...
Yes. That's how you also make lifelong friends, don't you think?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of these artists will return.
Yes.
And I know these people, some of them I know write down what they played before, and they will come with a new program. It's not the same. And when you know how good they are, I think that's, yes, of course, come again. And as you say, you get friends in that way.
Yes. What is the most challenging thing for you when you organize those concerts, Tua?
I think I wanted diversity.
Diversity. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because it's a very compact 5 days, in a row. Mm-hmm. And if you want the audience to come at all concerts, probably a few does, but if you want, it has to be very different angles. You see, one can only play Baroque music, another plays some music from his country, only this country, another plays just the hits, the organ hits, and so on, so that there is something that I want to listen to that tomorrow again. Mm-hmm. Not the same thing. Diversity.
Yes. It's important to have a variety also in the programs, in the
yes.
scheduling, in the guests also. Exactly. So Tua, with all your activities in church, right, around the cultural life at St. Nikolai, when do you find time to practice organ playing?
Well, this year, when we did something extraordinary with this renewal and renovation, it was in May. Mm-hmm. And after that, I had made a row of 27 concerts, because now it was each Saturday, mm-hmm. because I wanted to present the new organ. So all the organists of the island here, Fune yes, Island, all of them who could play a concert, I asked to come and play. So there was a concert each Saturday. Mm-hmm. Now in 2017, it's only the first Saturday, but we had from May until December each. So, well, I didn't get much time. Well, when could I practice? Well, then it was from 7 until 9 in the morning. Mm-hmm. That was the only time for me, because other had to play. And yes.
Yes, as a host, right, you have to leave some time for the guest to practice, right, and you forget yourself sometimes.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, and you leave yourself only the night hours, right, perhaps.
Yes.
When they are sleeping. Fantastic. So I think your activities as an organist, composer, and entrepreneur, let's say, right, the connector of those ideas into a musical performance and festival, right, basically is very, very rare today. We have many people who want to be an organist, who want to be a composer, separate things, right? But you combine those things into one, and you also connect people through festivals, right? You are impresario, right? Basically, you are impresario.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what you're doing, you are connecting people, which is so valuable today, Tua. And I hope you will be able to continue to do this work, even though sometimes it's challenging, right, with their own challenges and frustrations. I know there might be many for you sometimes. It's not easy, right, to connect with people
Sometimes it's
from
not.
all over the world, and to organize and make it everything so flexible, but at the same time connected and manageable, right? When the concert series becomes such a regular thing, it's like a big company, a big enterprise, and it's difficult to run it. But I hope you will be doing it for many years to come. So,
I will do my very best. I think I enjoy it when it works. It's a very great pleasure doing it.
before
Sometimes it's a hard work, but when it works, then it's all worth it.
right, right, because you are doing a world a better place, right, with all your activities.
Well, I don't know, but I try.
You try, yes. Before we end our conversation, Tua, it's interesting. Can you go back to the first years when you first started playing the organ or composing, right? Is there one thing you knew back then that might have made your progress faster or easier or more efficient? Or would you do everything the same way?
Well, you will never do no, never do this thing the
Uh-huh.
same way. But I think I would probably be practicing a bit more when I was young, because I had to struggle a lot with the technique later on, and there's so many things that I want to do. So sometimes when I write it, I have to exercise my own things, because the ideas are further on beyond my finger, what my fingers can play.
I know
So
what you mean.
so
I know what you mean.
but I know a lot of people that have been exercising very much as from young. They destroy their creation ability. So it's a balance to still get very fascinated and not only scales and up and down the keyboard. So I don't know if it could have been different. It, but I would love to have a better technique. So
Right. Do you think that later in life, if you start later in life playing the organ, can you still develop a reasonably well developed technique? Or is it too late? You have to start at 6 or 3 years old.
I don't think I have to. I have to think that this is never too late.
It's never too
Because
late,
that's
right?
keep you. You're pushing all the time. You try out some things, and you have to have the. But of course, as you get older, things. That's why I think it's good to start young, because the mind is fresh. As older you get, it's more and more hard to. Because when you're coding your brain with the different motions, it takes longer time.
Would you
Because
would you agree with this idea too that when you start as a child, right, musical training, you do as you're told, right? Your teacher
yes,
tells you to do
yeah,
this thing and you repeat it, right? Not
yes,
necessarily understand it, right, mentally why you're doing this. But if you started, let's say, like you did, 19 years old, you must have understood why you're doing it. And
yes,
even though you start later, right, and your technical fluency to develop may take a longer time, but your
yes,
mental capabilities are much better developed now, and you are much more purposeful with your practice, right? You have motivation,
that's
inner motivation,
yes,
which is a compensation from those
yes,
childhood years. Don't you
yes,
think?
yes, yes. That's right. You can use your brain to actually make it more efficient and much more. You don't have to practice. You can focus on what is necessarily.
Yes.
Necessary to, and that's the experience you have with you, so
Excellent.
that you, yes,
Excellent idea,
perhaps
Tuo.
can play what you want when it comes to the bottom
Excellent.
line.
I'm very delighted we met and we talked, and I hope people will try their hand at composing. Sometimes with with pencil, right, and eraser on the and using original digital device, which is our hands.
Yes, that's
Yes,
right.
yes,
Right.
and of course organ playing, and sometimes people can go further, can organize something, become impresario like you are, connect people, connect ideas. So great, and people probably would like to know more about you, your work, your compositions, where they can find more about what you're doing. Can you give us a link to?
Well, that's a bit difficult because when most of my compositions are handwritten, I have them in manus by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to say to people, if you would like my pieces or something, you just contact me and I'll send them to you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's actually, I have some things on editions, but it's not very much. So the best to do if you want to get interested in some of my music is to contact me
I see.
personally.
What would be the best way to contact with you? To you, email probably, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that would be very fine. And
Can you spell your email?
well, it's TORE dot BJORN dot LARSEN, and then the
Add sign. Mm-hmm.
the sign, and then hotmail.com.
Fantastic.
So it's my name actually, but the in the middle name it's only O, not in Danish. That's
Right. Yeah. Would people enjoy looking at the website of your church, Saint Nikolai?
Well, they can find some about the concerts and some of the music there. That's a possibility too.
This is www.sct-nikolai, which is NICOLAI,
Yes.
dash Kirke, which is KIRKE dot
Yes.
DK, Denmark.
That's right. That's right.
Fantastic. Anything else you wish our listeners to visit after this conversation?
To visit.
Yes.
Well, they're always welcome to the church, and if they ever get there and to a concert, they're welcome up and see the organ up at the pulpitude, the pulpit. Yes. So.
Excellent, Tuo. Thank you so much for your generosity. It was very inspiring conversation. And stay healthy this year and many years to come in order to create, produce, and inspire people.
Thank you very much, Vidas. It was a pleasure.
If you liked this conversation, I encourage you to visit my blog, Secrets of Organ Playing, at organduo.lt, where you will find lots of insights, practical advice, and training for every area of organ playing. You can subscribe to this blog for free to get your daily dose of inspiration and to be the first to know when any of my future podcasts roll out. I hope to help you reach your dreams in organ playing. I'm Vidas Pinkevičius. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you online really soon.